Hello and welcome to another jungle tutorial, and in this video I am going to outline some crucial things that hold back even the best of us. But one thing is certain, it affects people of all ranks to different degrees and can cause your climb to become stagnant. Some of these tips relate to your mechanics, some relate to your general awareness and macro sense, but also to your own mentality and stubbornness. So if you've ever had a plateau, felt like you were suddenly having difficulty winning, or simply want to propel yourself up the ladder, hopefully these principles will help you reach your goals. This is a bit different to our recent videos which deal with core League of Legends concepts, but these are nonetheless valuable tips. And on that note, with Virkayu content, a reminder that I make 3 hours of exclusive coaching content a month for high level gaming that includes VOD review analysis for high and low elo, pro player breakdowns, in-depth discussion of various principles, anything that can help you improve, learn more about the game. And along with other League of Legends creators, you can click the link below to have a free trial to gain access to all the content on the site and also want more Virkayu content in your life. Don't forget to use Virkayu with a small V for your referral code, and a reminder that you don't automatically grow a beard when you sign up. So to begin, the first thing I want to talk about in this video is, and I know I've spoken about it a lot recently, and that's your early game impact, but we're not going to spend too much time on it. I just want to highlight some things and implications about this phase of the game. I recently released a video about what I think is the strongest route at the moment, and there were a lot of comments saying they prefer a full clear, ignoring what I said and saying the Krug route is better, despite having very serious counters. But let me ask you this, how many times do you play a game and one of your laners dies to a gank before you have even left your jungle? It's probably one of the most frustrating things as a jungler, and if someone on your team or you is tilted, it can already put you in a bad mindset. Ensuring you have this first blood or first gank can be absolutely game changing, and I mean that in the most serious way. Getting level 3 and hitting a lane with a crucial gank and hopefully gaining a kill is an immediate morale boost for you and your entire team. It gives you priority on crabs, on subsequent ganks, on ruining the enemy's lane, as well as interrupting and destroying the enemy jungler's early game plan if they no longer can venture to that side of the map. If you want a full breakdown on my thinking with this and the route, I've slapped it in the description or on the top right of your screen. But to make my point, let's compare a challenge player, silver player, and yours truly. Now, this is not to say that silver players or low elo players don't gank early, they do, but these are the ones that are going to win more and aren't the ones that are stuck in silver. I'm talking about the people that are stuck in silver, maybe even gold, and they're not sure what to change. You can see in these examples that, in my case, in the challenger player's case, there is a focus on lane impact, getting first blood, getting summoners, and using that to have river control. Because if you have river control, the enemy jungler can't hit your laners as much. And now don't bring this nonsense attitude and tell me that it doesn't matter because your laners are gonna feed anyway. That's ridiculous. Just play the game, gank the lane, spank the enemy jungler, and be the difference maker. The lane impact lets you shut down lanes and get yourself fed as well as your team. And on the video coming on Friday, we will deal with this in terms of how to shut a lane down from the jungle position. So make sure your notifications are on for that. And my whole goal with mentioning all of this is to break out of your shell. Don't think that farming a full clear going back to base is the best course to carrying your team in even lower mid MMRs. The whole point is that you eradicate your stubbornness, and that's the second thing I want to talk about. Don't be stuck in this ridiculous one rail way of thinking. You're not a train, you're not a tram, we're not talking about ARAM. If you are doing an early clear but see an example to get a gank off, head there, rotate, your camps will be there afterwards. Your laner, however, might not be. See, I didn't say don't consider your laners as somewhat sentient potatoes. You have to assume this, which means they need your help more than you think, not less. And every now and then when you do have a laner who isn't just a potato, but is a raw spud of a laner, you know, the kind that snowballs a lead so hard you can just watch and say, I did that. This means that if you have controlled the enemy jungler, kept them down, tracked their pathing, warded them so hard they're afraid you're going to be able to see them when they log off and go to sleep, that you should rotate as soon as you can to situations. Force yourself to make, even if you think, hey, I want to do this camp. If you've done the hard work and you see the enemy jungler, or you're coming back from a death or from base and you see that the crab is up, don't fall into this full clear pattern or that your camps come first. Head to the crab, rotate to the jungle, make the counter gank. It's very difficult sometimes as a jungler, especially those that are stuck, to make a risky play or to leave something that's secure, but you're gonna have to do that if you want to get those leads, if you want to help your laners and help yourself. Remember, you are not playing an MMO, and so many junglers forget that with how much I see them farm, and even then, the people who rotate, make a lot of plays, and have the smoothness about how they rotate around the map, they end up with a higher CS at 20 minutes anyway. However, you need to know when to split the difference in the right way. In this case, the enemy bot is low, and the enemy jungler has done a similar timed clear to me. Instead of setting up a counter gank where they could perhaps collapse on me as I come around the tri-bush, the Kindred has focused on taking the crab, which is fine, it's a neutral objective, it's experience for them. But now my bot lane has a huge lead, the enemy bot lane has no sums, and I can then exploit it. So in those cases you need to think about what the enemy jungler is doing as well. But on that end, the third point of this video, I want to see you all comment below the most dragons you've secured in a game, because when junglers do have the opportunity, you should look to take anything that can help you and your team. I saw way too many junglers not focus objectives in the past 2 weeks when I got my Smurf to Diamond, and even giving up scuttles for Gromp despite the scuttle being an absolute huge take in terms of river vision, experience, and gold. And on that rare occasion you do have the raw Spud laner on your team, and you've exerted your primordial dominance over the enemy jungler, you can take the Herald freely, smash tower plates, snowball the lead even more, and you need to know how to maximize those Herald pushes because it can completely demoralize the enemy team and give your team a lead that can only be lost if you throw. Just as a reminder, the last 2 tower plates are harder to destroy because the tower has scaling resistances the more plates go down. And so using that Herald on the final 2 plates is perfect given that she does true damage. Simply put, dragons, heralds, towers. This is what gets you to the Nexus. And as our fourth point, when you want to get to the Nexus, there's no better way than keeping up the pressure on the enemy team. How often do you have strong early games but then throw it away at some mid or late game stage? One of the biggest reasons mid and lower MMR people lose games and become stagnant in their climb is because they get these leads either, through proactive play or by accident, and then they get so concerned with some power level fantasy. I had a game where a KL on my team didn't want to group because she needed level 16, and so was farming my jungle, splitting the whole time trying to stockpile her golden experience as much as possible, and a game that should have been over 20 minutes became very close when it really didn't need to be. If you're a scaling champion, no one cares one breadcrumb if you're level 10, 18 or 5 when the Nexus falls. The whole goal is to get the Nexus to fall, so don't go back to complete that one item when you've just aced the enemy team. You aced them? Take something, take the Baron, push the towers, get an inhibitor. Don't be so worried about getting that final item, about getting that experience level. A lot of times, teams will take inhibitors, they will take Barons, they will take dragons, and then they revert, go back to the jungle, farm a bit, split up, and the enemy team starts picking you off when you've lost all of your momentum. This is a very mental thing, try and ping your team, take control of the game in that sense. And yes, that means you need to make the right play because you don't want to tempt fate unnecessarily. Don't be split pushing when you take a Baron and your whole team has to go back, because even if you're Season 2 Vayne in the side lane, you're still going to be 5v1, it punishes your team, you lose the Baron power play, it's just a waste of a lead. Don't 1v9 if you're a sewer if your team is ahead and you're 1-7. You might have hit your 2 item power spike, but you're still 1-7. So my whole point is, if you have the opportunity to make plays with your lead, to really shut out lanes, to be everywhere at one time, to make a 3 or 4 tower herald push, anything like that that can completely fry the enemy team is the kind of mental domination you're looking for to keep that pressure up at all times. You might have noticed a buzzword there, the final point, making the right play. And this is something that a lot of people fail to do, and it's why they actually end up losing. I have bad games, you have bad games, Fager has bad games, but guess what? If you inch your way until 20 minutes, but your team is still able to hold off to the point the game is somewhat equal, nothing matters anymore except that moment you're in. Doesn't matter that you're 2-10. If you have decent levels, you have decent items, you're with your team, if you're down 10k gold, now you're equal, the decisions you make from this point are all that matter. And you'll see 2 very specific examples here from 2 games where I was doing terribly, just having an off day, doesn't matter why, and the enemy ADC was destroying us and making it very difficult for us to close out. But through good vision and objective control still, because of a jungler gank's top lane that can leave a dragon unguarded, and you can still do certain things even if you're behind. But after this Mountain Drake, I put myself in a spot where I could actually ult and suppress the most vital member of the enemy team. Of course, this is relevant to your champion. If you're an Evelynn, maybe you find a nice way to flank and take her out from behind immediately. Same goes for Rengar or anything like that. The point is my play, and you have to pay attention to if your team is able to follow up, don't go too deep. Pay attention to if they've been following you in the game, and that's why it's important to play champions that can sort of handle that themselves. Even if my team didn't follow up, I could have easily killed the enemy ADC by myself. So make sure you're paying, make sure you have the follow-up. The point is, despite the game being very bad for me, I was able to make this one pick, this one positional play that led us to have Baron and then to close the game out. And in our second example, the enemy Vayne had begun to shred us, and if you play Warwick, you know that late game against certain champions, it can feel like you're playing with no arms. My sexy KDA had become, not very sexy at all. I was the suave endgame Bruce Banner Hulk at the beginning of the game, and I'd kind of de-evolved into 2003 Hulk. However, thanks to a bit of patience and some luck, we managed to find ourselves in a situation where a small window opened. Vayne was the main target, I flash E, I chomp, she dies. Immediately I ult the person in front of me, it doesn't matter. My ADC was carrying the fight very hard up until this point. I just tank the tower, I CC the next enemy, I beat the front line, and my team can clean up and, as you see, win the game. So sometimes making the right play just means sacrificing yourself. However, it can also mean making that peel on the Rengar against your Fed ADC. So nothing before that moment matters. If you make the right play right there, you can actually go and grab a lot of wins just by being restrained, by thinking about what you have to do rather than, trying to play hero ball, as it were. Just bear in mind that many of the games you lose are because you refuse to pull the trigger on these windows as well. In this situation, I'm waiting for the enemy ADC to go back because they're going back in vision, and when that happens, it's really great because you can go just as hard as before. Doesn't matter if you mess the spells, doesn't matter if it's messy, but the fact that we're able to pick up a kill, to burn summons, to get numbers advantage, means it was an exploit of the enemy's back timing, and it was the right play to make. So if you mess up the right play, doesn't matter, you can live with it. But if you don't take this play, and you're behind and losing 5v5s, as soon as the enemy presents a 4v5 and you don't take it, you're going to regret that moment, and there's nothing worse than losing LP because you were too hesitant to do something. And the point of showing you these quote-unquote bad examples is that even if you're really great at the game, 99% of the time you're faker, you have 1v9 performances, whatever you think you're doing. If you have a tilted evening, if you just have a few off games for whatever reason, you can still seek out wins through these 5 steps, keeping your mentality in the right place and forcing yourself to do things to get out of those bad play patterns to rotate and impact the map as a whole. I know this was a bit more about the words than the fancy lasers as per usual, but these are common themes I've noticed during the past 2 weeks doing a lot of VOD review as well as leveling up my own, and it can affect everyone from time to time. Hopefully, these can help keep your mind right for the second half of the season. Thank you very much for watching. Please ensure you have the bell clicked to have all notifications, as YouTube metrics is now showing me that only 10% of you do, so the comments about not receiving my videos can easily be fixed. Please like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something. Subscribe for more videos like this, with lasers, with motion blur, other cool things. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.